You are now listening to the fastest show on iSports Radio. My name is Darrell Kinsey Jr., and I'm welcoming you to take another lap of the extra mile for today, September 23rd, 2021. Well, we are getting into championship season, also known as the fall and winter. One title will be decided, the IndyCar Championship up for grabs at Long Beach. The other two still underway. And to help me talk about it, of course, are my co-hosts, Christopher Lehman and Michael Ward.
How's it going tonight?
What's going on, everybody?
Hope everyone is doing well. If you're in the chat, make sure you drop your messages. We will read them out on the program as we get into this evening's show. Fellas, it feels like just yesterday the seasons got started, and while most of the championships have had normal seasons, NASCAR has still run their COVID protocols. Practice and qualifying supposed to be coming back, but we'll talk about that in a minute because Bob Pockrass let slip what they may be planning, and to keep a long story short, I'm mad, so that's going to be fun. But we'll start with Bristol, the Bass Pro Shops night race, and this whole weekend, folks, and Christopher and Michael, it felt like classic Bristol there on the concrete. Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup were there, and we had three great races during the weekend.
Oh, yes, we did.
Yep. There's a lot to digest tonight, fellas. There's a lot.
Yep. We got our first-time winner in the Truck Series in Xfinity. A.J. Allmendinger ends up picking up the win and then gets his car destroyed, a la Terry Labonte when he was racing there with Austin Cindric at the end. And then the Cup Series race, and I think it feels like it's been a decade since we've had a good old-fashioned driver scuffle at Bristol. But Happy Harvick made an appearance temporarily at Bristol with Chase Elliott after Elliott got a tire cut down by Harvick. So he spent the last 20 laps of the race blocking the absolute crap out of Harvick, so he could not pass him. Kyle Larson ends up catching him. Larson ends up winning the race, almost gets turned by Harvick doing it. Fellas, that was short track racing to a T right there.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Not only was that short track racing, that was proof that the NASCAR community probably is not ready to watch a Formula One race. Because while they weren't official team orders, that was team orders.
Yeah. That was, I'm mad, so I'm going to help my teammate win. And people were complaining that it's race manipulation. I'm like, guys, they're on the same team. We literally just saw earlier this summer Ross Chastain intentionally take Kyle Busch's lane away to help Kurt Busch win. This is just a thing that happens.
Yeah,
but there's a common denominator why people are mad, and we'll get into that in a bit. Honestly, and Chris, you actually started this conversation before we came on. I'm on Team Elliott side on this. It felt like it was Harvick just overdriving it after a year of frustration.
Yeah, that's exactly the way that I feel too. You could just tell in the way that he acted. I mean, Harvick is usually a pretty, at least in his later years, a more or less calm and collected guy. But you just saw a side of Kevin Harvick this weekend that was, crybaby almost. I mean, it was. I lost a lot of respect for Kevin Harvick in his interview afterwards. It was just whiny, and it wasn't in character with who he is. And that's why I think that you just saw a whole year's worth of frustration going into this race.
And I could imagine there's a lot of that frustration. I think a lot of us had Harvick at the start of this year as a championship favorite, and he just hasn't done anything this year. That whole team has been down, and it showed that in how he was racing at Bristol, where He overdrove it into Chase Elliott, ended up cutting down his tire, then nearly took out Kyle Larson. Harvick's used to winning a lot earlier into the season than he has, and that frustration really showed. Not really with the fight, but when he gets out the car and slams his helmet down on his glasses, which A, I didn't know Harvick wore glasses. B, we are getting old if if Kevin Harvick is now wearing glasses.
Yeah.
It's been at least the majority of this year that he's been wearing glasses. I have seen him when they give helmet cams and stuff, but I think it's actually more of a night thing than a day thing, though. If I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, I think Logano is the only one who wears them full time when he's racing because he recently got diagnosed with nearsightedness, which explains why he's squinting all the time. Because he can't actually see and refuses to wear his glasses. But no, it was fun watching those two go at it when they get out the car. But please, can we stop having the officials jump in the middle and just let these guys fight? Everybody wants to see a fight. Just let them do it. Break it up like it's a hockey fight. Once they hit the ground, you pull them apart. But every time these drivers start talking to each other, a crowd of 50 people start gathering around. It's like, just let them go. Like, you're going to use it as highlight footage anyway, so you might as well get some good footage.
You're not wrong.
And I also want to add, when Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick, this was going to boil over. Kevin Harvick, when you get out of that car, you need to take your helmet off before you walk up to Chase Elliott. That fight, there was never going to be a fight, and it was because Kevin Harvick did not take his helmet off.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing. These drivers got to start taking the helmets off before y'all get in each other's face. Like, we all know what we came here to see. So just do it is my whole thing on it.
Yeah, I honestly think Chase might have thrown a punch if he wasn't wearing his helmet.
I would have been fine with that.
Yep.
I like seeing this side out of Chase Elliott. I don't know where the Chase Elliott hate all of a sudden has come from. Other than I feel like people are mad that they talk about him too much. Well, he wins, so what are they supposed to do? It really feels like he's getting all the folks that hated Jeff Gordon for irrational reasons? Those guys have kind of migrated over into hating Chase Elliott, it feels like.
Well, yeah, it's the same as the Dale Jr. hate crowd. The only reason Chase Elliott's here is because of his dad. The only reason he has any fans is because of his dad. It's the same argument in a new generation. And then we're going to see it with Ty Gibbs. The only reason that he's got fans is because of Grandpa. It's something that NASCAR, we always say we're proud of the heritage and the families and like the Pettys, the Earnhardts, but then you get the same people that are like, yeah, we've got stronghold families. They talk, they push down the next generation, the current generation of racer, and say that all of their success is from their ancestors. And it's ridiculous.
Yeah, what's up, Marcus? Thank you for joining us this evening. It's weird. Folks like to talk about how we love the racing roots until those racing roots are successful. But when those racing roots aren't successful, sorry, Casey Mears, people also complain. So it's a catch-22. And by the way, I'm screenshotting all of this for when Keelan Harvick becomes a Cup driver and people inevitably
Braxton
turn
Busch.
on him. Yeah. Cash Boyer, all them become drivers, and the fans inevitably turn on them. Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to be a lot of receipt reading once that comes up. So we're heading into Las Vegas this weekend, but we got some news, including some news I'm not happy about. Bob Pockrass came out and said that practice and qualifying are supposed to be coming back, but not in the way we saw it pre-pandemic. according to Bob, the thought is 20 to 30-minute practice sessions. No adjustments underneath the car will be allowed, and I'll come back to that. And we'll go from that directly into qualifying. Now, I don't understand what adjustments they think are going to get done in 30 minutes. Not a lot is what I would say. The reason no underneath adjustments have been taken away, which doesn't really preclude changing anything with the suspension, by the way, due to how the floor is for the next-gen car where it's flat, it's an intricate process of trying to get all that stuff off so you can get at the underneath of the car. So NASCAR is just cutting the teams some time and saying you can't, make changes under there. Then they're going to go straight into qualifying, and then they're going to impound the cars. I don't know why we're truncating practice when we have a new car. And this is not going to save money. This is just going to have all the big teams throwing hundreds of millions of dollars into simulator work and pulling away from the little teams that now can't even use on-track time to compensate. I don't know who's making the decisions over there, but can they please be handed a pink slip? Literally every other racing series, from the little kids to Formula One, has normal practice. Whether it be 90 minutes, usually 90 minutes. Either it's 90 minutes, 60 minutes. I don't understand why NASCAR's trying to be different. And some people say, well, they're trying to save the team's money. Go do something else. I'm going to keep it a buck. If you're in this sport and you're trying to save money, here's how you save money. Sell the team and the charter to somebody else.
Sell it to Rick Ware.
You're trying to make a car go 200 miles per hour. It's expensive. I don't care how slow you make the engines. It's still going to be expensive. I don't care what you do with the cars. It's still going to be expensive. Racing is expensive. You're not going to be able to cost cut your way out of it. Formula One is trying it. We'll see what happens. It costs a lot of GD money to do this. If you don't want to spend the money, go find something else to do and let somebody else that wants to spend the money do it. But stop neutering the weekend, because y'all aren't going to neuter those ticket prices, I can tell you that. The weekend ticket's still going to be expensive for less on-track time. And this is someone who actually likes practice and likes going to practice. This is one thing, and I don't like doing this, being the guy that rails on tradition, but this is literally something that wasn't broken. Why are we breaking it? Just do two 90-minute practice or two 60-minute practices, do qualifying at the end, impound everybody, and call it a day. I don't know why it has to be this complicated or this truncated. Because I know the TV can't be happy about this, knowing they're going to lose more hours of broadcasting time. That's less sponsor ad they're going to get. They're going to be thrilled about that. The fans aren't going to want to pay for the weekend ticket if they're barely going to see any on-track action. I don't know who this helps. The teams, they're just going to complain again about something else being expensive once we wreck a couple of these new cars, especially after we do this stupid behind demo derby in Los Angeles, and they come back and do another demo derby at the Daytona 500 because nobody knows draft etiquette anymore. And then who knows what we'll be cutting at that point. You want to save some money? Cut 6 races off this schedule and call it a day. But stop breaking stuff that isn't broken. For the love of criminy.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Daryl. You are spot on. And this, at the end of the day, the not having practice in that's just as much as it costs the team money. It's going to cost tracks money, because now you have less of a value to sell people. And to be honest, everybody knows it's already overpriced as it is. Not compared to Formula One, obviously, but
Oh my God, no, it's not.
but still, I mean, just a day pass, you're still looking at well over $100 at some tracks. And now most people are they're buying the weekend pass because they want to see all the action. And so now you're saying, hey, ticket prices aren't coming down. So now what you're saying is, hey, you're going to pay the same amount of money, and you are also going to lose practice. You're going to lose all basically, an hour and a half of practice, if not more. So you're really killing the value. And this is the type of thing that I'm not going to say that it's going to put the sport in ruin, but this does not help a fan base that is already unsettled.
Yep. So current prices at Las Vegas, since we brought up ticket prices. Week of the race price, this is for what section? Section 2. Section 2R, main grandstand. This is just to the right of the start-finish line there at Las Vegas. This is up on the second tier. So that's premium seats, by the way, because with racing, it works backwards. You don't want to be sitting close. You want to be sitting up high so you can see everything. $126 each.
And
remember,
that's the day.
That's for the cup race. So that's just to see the race. And you're telling me, and that's for a single day ticket. So when they were doing the weekend tickets, this is a lot more expensive. And I can actually go to the weekend packages right now to show you that. It's going to load up here in a minute. It takes a little bit for this to actually work. So now that's loaded up. Let's go look at the weekend packages. Going to load the seats here. Taking a little bit to do this, so give me a minute. But all right, there they are. So this is the weekend ticket prices. I'm going to scroll into this seat. $220 for this weekend ticket. For this seat. This is 2M blue row 46 seat 19. $220 for the weekend just to see 3 races. And that's one ticket. I'm not paying that for 20 minutes of practice and then qualifying. Like, I'm not paying that. If I'm going to pay out the nose for that, I'm going to see racing all day when I'm going there. The NHRA, God bless them. You get a weekend ticket for about $100. 8:30 a.m., there's cars on the track. By noon, the pros are on the track. They run cars down the track till 7 o'clock at night on Friday and Saturday. You get more than a bang for your buck for your ticket. Less track time means less chance Daryl buys a ticket. And a lot of other people buy a ticket as well. So I don't know what we're doing. Maybe this will work. Maybe this is some 4D chess move by NASCAR. But I love this sport. But I'm not going to be on this show and just say everything's okay. I'm going to let you know when I don't like something, and I definitely do not like this.
Understandable. Just seems outrageous, though.
I don't know what we're doing. One sport that thinks it knows what it's doing, for better or for worse, of course, is Formula One. They're coming back to Russia for the Russian Grand Prix, of course, at the Sochi Autodrome. And there's been a lot of news out with Formula One. First, of course, there's a rumor that the MGU heat element, which takes engine heat and converts it into electricity, may be going away to allow VW/Audi to join the grid. And this week, we got a date for next year's Miami GP, which is going to be on Mother's Day weekend, May 6th to the 8th. Also, there's a rumor that the French Grand Prix will be gone for 2022, replaced on a permanent basis with Imola. So, guys, how do you feel about those two nuggets of news?
I feel pretty good about Imola. I'm going to miss Paul Ricard because, in my opinion, that circuit wasn't that bad, but having Imola back, that seems pretty good. and the NGUK allowing VW and Audi in, that we do need more teams in F1. So if they do that and those guys come in, I see that as an absolute win.
I think VW is already in. They were there during the talks at Monza. So I think VW and Red Bull are pretty much already working together, ready to go. But the other guys, like, the other manufacturers, I know that Mercedes was completely on board. They want to breed more competition. So I think that's a good thing. I don't think you're going to see anything bad come out of having more manufacturers in Formula One.
Oh, definitely. I think Formula One should have been a much more manufacturer-driven sport, like WEC is.
I mean, we need more seats anyway for all these talented Formula 2 drivers that are ending up tearing it up in IndyCar. Not that I'm complaining about the IndyCar part, but we need more seats. Yeah, but I think if we get 3 more teams that were financially stable, pipe dream, get 26 cars out there, at least you've got some seats for the F2 guys that are coming up. And you get more cars on track, which I love with Formula One. And it also is going to create some more chances for randomness with more cars on the grid. So I think it's a win-win if we can get more cars that can stay around for more than a cup of coffee.
Definitely. But we'll have to see what they decide to do. If they do it, I'm looking forward to more teams being there. But if they don't, I guess more of the same old, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yep. We'll see what happens. On the other side, how much are those tickets for the Miami Grand Prix going to be?
Don't even want to think about it.
I'll throw down an over-under. I think we'll see a $3,000 ticket.
Jesus Christ.
I bet, especially for the first year.
I'm telling you, there's going to be a $3,000 ticket for something. We went over the Coda prices earlier this year. I want to see if there's anything out about Coda. To see if there's any Formula One price. I love doing the yearly sticker shock of the F1 US Grand Prix. That seems to become a staple every time this race comes around. I don't know. Nope. Parking costs $100, by the way. I don't know if I told you all that.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I think Miami's going to be ridiculously priced, and it's because of the location. I mean, I don't think I'm still not sure how I feel about the location of the track being at Hard Rock Stadium. I don't know. It feels kind of cheesy to me. It doesn't really seem like it's the spirit of Formula One, if that makes sense to you guys. Mm-hmm. But I mean, location wise, in terms of city,
looks like we had technical issues with Christopher, but I understand what he's saying when it comes to. There we go. Sorry, you kind of blinked out there for a minute. You were talking about the city before I went silent. So you just repeat real quick.
Yeah, I said that basically just Miami's a great market for the race to take place at. I think it's really going to boost some popularity in Formula One.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. I hope it does. And with what happened with Drive to Survive, it's really going to boost a lot of the American participation in the sport. And before we go out of here into the break, heading now into Russia for, of course, the Russian Grand Prix. We know Max Verstappen's got to take that grid penalty for the incident that happened in Monza. There was some conversation. Now, Christopher, you actually advocated for them taking the engine penalty and actually starting from the back and just get a whole new engine in there. I I would only do that if qualifying is a disaster by their standards. If he's off the first two rows, well, if he basically doesn't qualify on the front row, just eat the penalty and just get the new engine. Because I think there's enough time where Max could pick up those points. Now, you got to hope that Hamilton also runs into an issue on Sunday, which it's supposed to rain. And given that team's track record when it's had layups this year, that is something that is not out of the realm of possibility. So I think if they run into an issue at any time, just take the penalty and fight back from there. Because I think Max can get through there. My only limiting factor is these cars just don't like to pass each other at all.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's the dirty air.
Yep.
They can't get close to each other.
Hopefully that's fixed next season. If not, we're going to be in for a long season.
Yeah. Yep. Hopefully a couple racing series can fix the dirty air issue.
NASCAR. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about IndyCar. We're coming into the finale here, Long Beach, California. And what I thought was going to happen this year, I was way off. We'll talk about it on the other side of this break. But before we do that, of course, got to thank our sponsors, and that starts with the Southern California Warriors. And the world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and it's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance. If you love your sport, you may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. Follow them on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, on Instagram at Southern California_Warriors, and Facebook at Southern California Warriors. We'll be right back after this.
Attention, all sports fans! If you're someone who wakes up each morning with lists of sporting events to go along with your to-do list for the day, then you just might be a diehard. The world of sports is as vast as the ocean is deep, including the major leagues, the minor leagues, the colleges, and everything in between. This is me, your boy Larry B of IE Sports Radio, welcoming you to join me every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on The Defining Moment, a show that focuses on what really matters in the sports world, sports themselves, and nothing outside of them. Once again, tune in for The Defining Moment with me, your boy Larry B, every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on IE Sports Radio, right here on Spreaker.com. We'll see you there.
Soccer Scoreboard Show with your host, Gabriel Montoya. This is the show for soccer, football fans, or whatever you call the beautiful game. Every week, I tackle the latest and greatest news from around the soccer world. From the English Premier League, to the World Cup, to MLS, Liga MX, and more. You can listen to the Soccer Scoreboard Show and our lineup of fantastic guests every Friday at noon here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey, what's up, sports fans? You're looking for a different type of sports talk show, something you haven't heard before? You got to check out the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday on 2 Live Stews Radio. 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Sports talk at its finest. Always have great guests, playing some good hip-hop. You don't want to miss it. Make sure to tune in to the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Businesses, are you looking to background check a new hire on? Let Kit Freeman take care of that for you. Kit founded and has managed Background Check International since 1994, and he's here to help you with the screening process. Contact Kit and let him help make the hiring process that much easier. This business is used for professional background checks and not for the use of any crime such as identity theft or any other illegal activity. Check him out on social media at bcint.com and on Facebook at Background Check International-BCI. So we're back here in the Extra Mile on iSports Radio. You're in feed for all that is sports. At the top of the hour, Frozen Takes with AJ will come up to bat. We're going to get through the final segment of the show here, though. And that is IndyCar. And fellas, at the beginning of the season, I felt that in IndyCar, Scott Dixon was the odds-on favorite to win the championship. The crafty veteran has aged like fine wine or Tom Brady at this point, whichever ages better, winning his 6th championship and looked the odds on to be the second 7-time champion on the IndyCar grid, depending on how you look at it. Hi, Jimmy Johnson. However, that has not worked out to plan as Alex Palou looks poised to win his first championship when the field rolls into Long Beach, California for the postponed Grand Prix of Long Beach. Palou, in his first season with Chip Ganassi Racing, has absolutely set the IndyCar world on fire and has been a major part of the youth movement in the sport that has become one of the central storylines of 2021. Now, I don't want to get into what this means for Scott Dixon's future in IndyCar because it doesn't mean much. He's already a first ballot Hall of Famer. But fellas, we kept saying, the future is bright here in Formula One. I think we can start saying, or not Formula One, in IndyCar, sorry. I think we can start saying the future is now.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I think
you guys are setting the world on fire.
Yep, as the season has went on, we've started seeing that passing of the torch, so to speak. And you look at the championship standings right now, and you can tell the future is now. It is not next year. It's not 2 years from now. It is today. It is in the here. It's in the now.
Alex Palou, Patricio O'Ward, and Joseph Newgarden are going to be the 3 drivers going into Long Beach with a chance to win the championship. Scott Dixon can do no better than 4th place. Chip Ganassi's got to be happy. He's got 3 cars in the top 5 in points. And Jimmy Johnson, a lot has been said about Jimmy, but he has improved as the season has gone on. He's gone from not running last to actually showing he's got some aptitude for these cars. I'll be interested to see how he runs next year. I'm not saying he wins a race by any means. That's really not even a thing I expect for him to do. He's just out there having fun as, enjoying the rewards of a post-successful NASCAR career. And that's all Jimmy Johnson's doing out there. But Roman Grosjean, who's been connected to Andretti, Michael, I don't know if you saw this, but he put on a passing masterclass on Sunday at Laguna Seca, a race won by Colton Herta. But the only thing people could talk about was Roman Grosjean starting 16th and dicing up the field on his way to a 3rd place finish, including a brave dive bomb in the closing stages of the race on Jimmy Johnson to get around him. Jimmy Johnson was a lap down at the time. Those 2 cars ended up making contact but continued. Grosjean has really gotten into the swing of these Indy cars, and he's showing that his time in Formula One with Haas at the end was not the extent of his abilities at this point. I think we may have misjudged Grosjean a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, Formula One is definitely a place where I want to say your actual skill isn't taken into account of, because you have the cars, and then some cars handle like boats. Honestly, like the Haas, for example.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's an H1 Unlimited hydroplane that handles better than the Haas car.
So his car didn't really reflect his driving ability. And I think what you're seeing now is his actual driving ability.
I'd agree with that.
And we see a lot. Marcus Ericsson did the same thing. He came over from Formula One and has actually run rather well. And the reason IndyCar has become so attractive to these Formula One, I don't want to say washouts. And hello, Davidson Crooks. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. These guys that just, for lack of a better word, don't pan out in Formula One is because, and we've said it several times, the car dictates a lot about your prospects in the sport. Lewis Hamilton's not going to win the world championship in a Williams or, God forbid, a Haas. That's just not going to happen.
Oh, no.
So you get these drivers. They don't run well in the non-competitive cars they're in, which forces them to drive over their heads, which causes incidents. We think they suck. Then they come to IndyCar, which is a lot more in the driver's hands, and they end up being competitive and showing, wait, that guy's actually not too bad. And that's going to be a theme I think we're going to continue to see, because there's just no seats left in Formula One. And I think we're going to see a lot of those guys, giving IndyCar a try, or even in terms of Daniel Ticktum, possibly even coming over to run some NASCAR here in the States. There's been a rumor that Dan Ticktum might want to come across the pond and run NASCAR. That's why I bring it up. But it's been a lot of fun watching Grosjean, I don't want to say rehabilitate his career, but enjoy his post-Formula One life. And I think we're going to see a lot more drivers do that. And I really hope we can get Lewis Hamilton at the Indy 500 at some point.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That would be great to see. Shoot, get him for the road course and the Indy 500.
I think he'd do really well on the road course. I don't know how he'd do at the oval.
I mean, if Fernando Alonso can damn near win the Indy 500.
Okay, Alonso had a good car until, of course,
Honda.
The Honda engine let him down. And Chris, you weren't here for us when that happened, but that was a sad day on the extra mile when we all came back. 'Cause I think we all picked Alonso to win.
Yeah. And,
we were heartbroken.
But, he almost won it. So, who's to say Lewis Hamilton can't mess around and win the Indy 500?
He definitely could.
Shoot, that might even be a way for Mercedes to just be like, hey, this IndyCar stuff is not bad. We might want to dip our toes in here for a little while.
Yep.
I mean, it could be where you see some of these guys come over here and, Formula One might take a little bit more interest, in terms of ownership.
I still think Mercedes should dive into NASCAR, but that's just me.
I would love to
want
see
go
that.
NASCAR.
It would be nice to see the IndyCar drivers get some respect enough to be offered F1 seats, because IndyCar does gain super license points, by the way. Yep. So to see a Colton Herta or even Alexander Rossi get an actual shot at Formula One, because I do not count that stint that he did in the dying days of Manor as him getting a Formula One shot. That was barely a test drive in a Formula One car. So I hope he gets a legitimate shot at some point.
I do too.
And you know what? I kind of want to see Lewis Hamilton take the NASCAR. I don't know how it would go, but it'd be entertaining.
I don't think it'd go well.
And it probably wouldn't, because these cars are a lot heavier and a lot less downforce than he's used to.
mean, we should say you might not have fun just throwing these things around the corner.
Yeah. I always thought Juan Pablo Montoya could have been a little bit better. Just things did not go his way. And I'm sorry, that man won far too many Formula One races for him to be remembered as the guy that hit the jet dryer. Which, by the way, that was not on purpose. That was because something broke in the car.
Yeah.
And it still makes it on every Daytona 500 highlight reel.
Yeah.
It'll be on there till the end of time.
Yep.
We'll see how that goes. But before we get out of here, of course, we got to do nearest the win. We've got 3 races to pick this weekend. That is Formula One, IndyCar, and NASCAR. We start round 2 of the playoffs, and I got Kyle Larson taking the win at Las Vegas for Formula One. I'm going to go with a curveball. I don't think the McLaren pace from a couple of weeks ago was a fluke. I think Lando Norris wins the Russian Grand Prix. And for IndyCar,
I'm not saying anything.
I'm going to take Alex Palou to win the race and the championship. So that's who I've got. Fellas, who you got?
I'll go next. So let's see. We got Vegas. I'm going to take the hometown hero, Kyle Busch. For Formula One in Russia, I'll take Lewis. I think Max takes the grid penalty, goes right to the rear, and I think he comes back and gets a top 5. But I think Lewis, in that time, just gets enough of a lead that it's not possible for Max to come back. So, and then I'll take Newgarden to so I'll go Kyle Busch, Lewis Hamilton, and Joseph Newgarden. Michael?
For me, Las Vegas, I'm going to go with Kevin Harvick. I think he's shown some pace. Shut up. Shut up. I know what you're about to say, Chris.
If Chase Elliott is near him, Kevin Harvick is not winning. Unless it's the race to the wall.
Well, you're not wrong, but I'm just gonna pick him just because I think it'll be an interesting pick. Formula One. Now that McLaren has shown their faces, now I
do it.
Say it.
Join the McLaren side.
Fine. I'll go Norris.
Oh.
What's next? IndyCar. Did I pick Palou last weekend?
I don't remember. I'm gonna start next year.
I don't want to jinx Palou because I legit want him to win. So I'm gonna go like Minas VK.
All right, well, folks, if you want to play nearest the win, hashtag nearest the win with who you think is going to win.
Wait. I'm gonna go with Roman Grosjean.
Oh,
good pick, actually.
Well, just
Roman
go
did
Jimmy
run
Johnson.
extremely well. There would have to be several miracles to take place at once for Jimmy Johnson to win on Sunday. I'm just going to keep it
never. Never say never.
Yeah.
Turn 1, everybody takes each other out.
When does Chad Canal start crew chiefing for Jimmy Johnson in IndyCar?
I don't know, but it needs to happen. He seems to like crew chiefing for endurance racing, though.
Yeah.
Because he was at Le Mans. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if he's going to be doing something with the Chip Ganassi program, but he's really into it.
It's fun seeing him out there doing all sorts of different stuff.
Yes.
Now that he's not traveling week to week, with Hendrick, he can go out and do other stuff, and he's kind of doing like Jimmy's doing. He's just out there having a good time doing whatever the heck he wants.
Yeah.
That's what these drivers like to do, and these crew chiefs. They don't really retire. They just go do something else. So
I think we're all ready for Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch to go crew chief for their kids.
I've seen Kyle doing that. It's so cute. But before I forget, if you guys want to play Nearest to Win, hashtag Nearest to Win with who you think's going to win this weekend for IndyCar, NASCAR, and Formula One. You are running out of time to join us, but you'd have plenty of time to play spoiler and help me get some points or take points off of everybody else. Of course, that's also going to require me to pick better if I'm actually going to win this thing, but we'll see what happens.
I haven't been doing too great the last couple of weeks.
I haven't been doing great this whole season. I haven't been doing great in either game, this one or the USRN one.
I think the only time for Nearest to Win I've gotten a point off IndyCar was Joseph Newgarden winning, like earlier this year.
Yes. IndyCar is difficult to pick, and that's a good thing. It is. You really don't know who's going to win that from week to week. But you were talking about Kyle Busch crew chiefing, and I saw the pictures of him crew chiefing with the little kids at the track Brexton runs at, and it was absolutely adorable.
Yeah, and for those of you who haven't seen, Kyle doesn't just focus on his kid. He goes around and talks to all the kids. I mean, Brexton's getting the full footage breakdown, but there is video of Kyle going around and talking about racing lines and cornering with different kids.
Yeah. I didn't think I would end up liking the Busch brothers 10 years ago, but I'm starting to, like Kurt and Kyle Busch, and it's weird.
Well, you're going to have to like Kurt next year. You don't have a choice.
Yeah, I don't have a choice next year. And we've talked about this a lot. Kurt has changed so much in the last 10 years. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't think he'd recognize himself in the mirror.
No. And new fans, I don't even know how to explain how wild Kurt Busch used to be. Y'all are just going to have to go look up videos of past Kurt Busch. He threatened to punch Bob Pockrass at some point. He actually threatened to fight several media members. Like, Kurt was out there, but he's a much better person now, and he would say that himself. So,
yeah.
So, folks, we're going to get ready to get on out of here. Frozen Takes with AJ is next. Remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and check out the website, iSportsRadio.com. And if you've missed any episode of any iSports Radio show, you can catch the re-airs wherever podcasts can be heard. I'm on Twitter at DKJunior12, Michael's at Michael_Wart25, and Chris is at Fiji Sims. Make sure you hit us up on Twitter. And with that being said, it's time to throw the checkered flag on this episode of The Extra Mile. For Christopher and Michael, I'm Daryl, and we will see you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody.